if you like using Instagram or if you like using WhatsApp, ask yourself, how did WhatsApp come up?
Welcome back to the number one podcast for software developers. With a drive to let you know about the ins and outs of a technical company, roles you need to play, development, how to thrive in your engineering career, programming, entrepreneurship, running a successful business. We are covering it all for you. What makes today's interview exhilarating, exciting, informative, but more importantly, the value it brings to your time is a broad range of topics we cover for you. From how to get a job, pursuing a higher education, how to thrive within your new or existing roles, and the special segment for today's interview, product management. With more than 18 years of experience within the IT industry, his career portfolio includes working at large enterprise as well as startups such as Symantec, BMC Software to present day at Druva. He has handled various responsibilities ranging from a software developer to senior software developer, quality assurance engineer, and currently as a director of product management. With diverse experience managing technical partnerships, clients, and teams across various tiers, his skill set also includes system management, developing SaaS applications, and much more. His work portfolio includes building products from ideation phase to multi-million dollar generating revenue products. During his free time, he loves to travel and enjoy swimming. For our listeners joining in today, I have such a special bond with our guest for the day. He's passionate about his work with an exceptional technical acumen, people management skills, in-depth communication, and customer empathy, but more importantly, the mentorship and guidance he offers to you. So, without any further ado, introducing you to our today's speaker, RONO JACOB. Welcome, sir. Welcome to Food for Hunger.
Thanks, Richu. Good to hear you connecting with the audience. Look forward to talking to you today.
Absolutely. So, could you take us through your journey and what exactly you do?
Sure. I started my career in 2002. I started my career as a software engineer. From there, I was a developer. I moved on, worked as a developer for 2 years, and then I joined Veritas, which was then acquired by Symantec. Became a quality engineer there. It opened me to a world of enterprise companies, how they operate in the storage space. I was there with Veritas for a few years. Then I joined a startup called Blade Logic. Blade Logic, I was there as a developer. Worked through different phases of how startups go through it. From there, it was a journey to BMC Software. Blade Logic eventually got acquired by BMC Software. It was at BMC Software I made a transition to product management. And from there, I joined Druva Software, which in Pune, which is actually one of the unicorns in Pune today. And I've been here for the last 6 years heading product management for one of the products at Druva.
Absolutely perfect. So, heading directly towards our question segment, after graduation, what was your stance? Was it to take up a job or was it to pursue your higher education?
That's actually a very interesting question. So, like many of us, when we pass out of engineering, we are presented with two options. One is whether we should go to pursue higher studies or to actually go and look out for a job. For me, it was always about looking out for a job to begin with. I asked myself, I spent 4 years in engineering, and at that point of time, I felt it's important to first take what I've gained in this 4 years of engineering and understand, how has it helped me. So I started looking out for a job. I always felt that along my career there'll be enough opportunities to go back and study, and that's what I've done. I ended up pursuing my master's from BITS Pilani at a later stage, and that's been my profile. My recommendation to those who are looking to go down this path would be, if you're passionate about studying, you're really looking to do a higher course, then you should have the reasons for it. Most commonly, we hear folks wanting to go abroad as a way to do higher studies. But, if you really feel there's something that you lack in your current capabilities or you're looking for a thesis to go down, then probably that's the right journey to take to go and do higher studies.
So, when you passed out, how did you go out looking for a job? Was it through campus placement, or you had to go outside and search for a job, hunt for a job?
Uh, Now, when I passed out in 2002. It was actually a very, very interesting time where the markets were completely in recession. There were hardly any jobs available at that point of time. I passed out from a college where, we were the first batch coming out. And as a result, there was not even a campus interview to go with. But I was adamant that I need to get a job, and I started the journey of looking for a job. Started applying in places, started interviewing. You send a lot of you reach out to a lot of companies. Some of them may hear back. I eventually actually went on the roads to Hinjewadi and other companies, and I would carry my resume. Back in the days, you actually had to physically just go down to companies and talk. I end up going to Bombay looking for a job. You knock on many doors. Some of it may turn out for you. Some of it may, some of them may be open to listen to you and give you a chance. Others may not be able to do that. But when you're looking for a job, essentially it's important to keep in mind not to get disheartened. Not every company will be open to receiving you, but it's important to keep looking. In today's age, there's so many other ways in which you can also reach out to companies. So that's one way to actually start looking out. You help yourself reach out to companies and see how to go about keeping your skills updated and working towards it.
Let's say a student was to prepare for an interview. What will better their chances for getting through it? And what are certain key things interviewers look for?
If you're starting your career as a fresher, and you're looking for a job, let's say you're going for a job interview, do the basic homework, right? These days every company's information is available online. You can know what are the patterns of interviews. So do that basic homework. Look at what styles of interviews do they take. Different companies have different ways of gauging the folks they want to come in. Most of that information is available online, so look at it. Make sure that when you're going for some of these interviews, the companies fully understand that you're not coming with experience. They fully appreciate the fact there. But what they're really looking at that point, based on what I've seen, is your attitude is really important. Are you going to be a team player? Is this someone that they can train into the organization? Do you have the willingness to learn? These are some of the secondary soft skills that would come out. Make sure you have your fundamentals in place. If you're coming from an software background, make sure your data structures, all of these concepts are hard there. You'll pretty much be asked a lot of those things. And finally, in your time when you did engineering, if there were any key projects or anything that you could demonstrate that you could have done, make sure those are all key value adds that you can bring to the table. Let's say even you're searching for a job, you have been doing some freelance work. All of those things that you bring to the table would help your case.
Welcome to the second segment of today's podcast. We will be covering how to advance within your technical career. So, what are the possible roles, opportunities that a fresher can have within a company?
So a common myth that folks when they're joining an IT company is, that I hear at least, is, I'll end up doing a coding role. I'll have to be a developer. I'll have to start coding. What are the languages I need to know? The reality of the fact is when you come into an IT company, there's so many diverse roles. Not every role demands. While some of the roles demand to be technical, not every role demands that you have to be coding. To be a coder in that sense. Of course, if you're passionate about that, that's a way to go. But then if you look in the IT field, you can start to see that right from development to to doing QA, to learning more about the processes. Let's say agile is a way in which most companies develop their methodology on how they build products or solutions. You would have people like scrum masters. You'll have people like project managers. You'll have people like program managers, and you have all of these diversified roles. As a fresher, you might just stand out by being a generalist, saying that's what you bring to the table. But once you go down the path of a job in a company, what you'd start to see is there are various different roles you can get in. your natural affinity to certain things would drive you away. Maybe you don't want to code. Maybe you're passionate more about project management, or maybe you are more inclined to do the business side of things, or maybe you want to go down a customer facing role, and you want to become a pre-sales engineer. So, or you want to become a solutions person who goes and implements solutions. So as you go down your path and you start getting exposed to it, you would start to find these gaps and these opportunities also presenting. And this is precisely one of the reasons which, when I look back, after my engineering, and asked myself, should I be studying something ahead of time? My guidance and my thought at that point was, let me see what it is. Maybe once you start doing a job, you might find something that's more interesting, and that might lead you to pick up something in that line to go and learn again. So those are the decisions that you'd find as you go and work in companies.
Heading towards the second question, what is a typical career path within a technical company, and how can our listeners excel and innovate at their current roles?
Sure. So, let's say you join a company, you get put on a project, or you're working on a particular product, and within that, you're a part of a particular team. In that team, you start off by saying, well, I'm really not good at algorithms, or, I'm really not good at writing code. The other option that you could see immediately on a line is to become a quality engineer, where you might have a preference to test out the products. You might be good at automation, where you're saying, I can use quality testing tools to figure it out. I'm really good at understanding how to break the product, find out issues into that. That's a line you can go down. Today's age, you can become a scrum master, where you're in charge for ensuring a particular cycle gets released. You're coordinating with team members to make something like that happen. You can become a program manager, where you're responsible for the overall deliverables, making sure that things are being tracked in a right line. All of this demand that you have a technical understanding, but don't necessarily require you to have a coding experience line. Or you can go down the line of product management like me, where you want to drive more of the product overall requirements and details to it. And that's a line you could take in your career too.
Towards our final question, sir, what if one of our listeners feel they don't have a passion for coding on a day-to-day basis? What else can they pursue within their career?
Sure. So, let's say you join a company, you get put on a project, or you're working on a particular product, and within that, you're a part of a particular team. In that team, you start off by saying, well, I'm really not good at algorithms, or, I'm really not good at writing code. The other option that you could see immediately on a line is to become a quality engineer, where you might have a preference to test out the products. You might be good at automation, where you're saying, I can use quality testing tools to figure it out. I'm really good at understanding how to break the product, find out issues into that. That's a line you can go down. Today's age, you can become a scrum master, where you're in charge for ensuring a particular cycle gets released. You're coordinating with team members to make something like that happen. You can become a program manager, where you're responsible for the overall deliverables, making sure that things are being tracked in a right line. All of this demand that you have a technical understanding, but don't necessarily require you to have a coding experience line. Or you can go down the line of product management like me, where you want to drive more of the product overall requirements and details to it. And that's a line you could take in your career too.
Welcome to the third and final segment for today's special podcast, Product Management. Sir, now that we have a broad understanding of roles within a company, let's talk about what you have been doing. What is product management, your current role at Dhruva, and the process for building a great product?
Sure. So think of product management in a very simplistic manner. Think of product management as a person or a role who is responsible for a product, the entire aspect of a product. His role is to make sure that the product is successful, and in that sense, he becomes more like a generalist. And that basically means, if you were to pick any particular app that you use today, if you like using Instagram, or if you like using WhatsApp, ask yourself, how did WhatsApp come up? How is someone deciding what capability should come in WhatsApp? WhatsApp released dark mode recently. What drove the dark mode to come up? Who came up with this? Sitting behind and making all these decisions are usually product managers. They are looking at it from a business perspective, they're looking at it from a requirement perspective, they're also looking at it from a design perspective to understand what's the right way to bring it out, what's the best fit for the product, and that's what a product manager does. My role at Dhruva, to give you a brief summary, is Dhruva is a company which is focused on data protection. It's a SaaS solution, which is SaaS-based solutions, which is 100% architected in AWS. And within Dhruva, we have multiple products. One of the products is called as Cloud Ranger, which is, as people start to build workloads in the cloud, the next time one of you guys decide to start a company, you might pick a public cloud as your choice to go and build. Gone are the days where you would go to a data center or you set it up in your own labs. You probably go to the cloud, make an account there and do it. But as you start to build things there, things can go wrong. Someone might accidentally delete it, your account can get compromised, and all sorts of things could happen. Imagine your website, which is running, the data which is being stored on it gets compromised and the site goes down. So you need backup measures to protect against it, and that's what Cloud Range is all about. It looks at AWS and it looks at all these workloads that are there, and we build solutions around how to solve for the data protection aspect of it. That's my day-to-day job, where I'm looking at this product, I'm deciding what's the best fit for it in the market, working with the marketing teams, with the engineers, with my UX engineers, with my designers, with my UI developers, and the different teams I'm coordinating with to decide what's the next thing to do. We're obviously talking to customers on an ongoing basis to identify that.
What does a typical day look for you?
Typical day would be a mix of activities. I would typically start my day by looking at what's the next items that I have on my list. If they are meetings with engineering where I'm trying to close out a requirement that we'll a solution that we're looking to build, so we're building a feature in, or we're designing something together, then I'm either working with my architect, with my UX counterpart, or with the engineering members to see how things are going. So that's a typical aspect. In addition to that, I would typically be talking to few customers. There might be some escalations where I need to jump on a call. And then obviously you would have the sales requests which come in, responding to email conversations. So that's what a typical day would look like for me.
If, say, one of our listeners wants to be a product management director, what would be certain things you would be looking in for them?
A product management director is something that is a little bit up the chain, where you essentially have the overall responsibility of a product. But as stepping stones to get to there, you would probably start yourself as an associate product manager, where you start by owning a particular module or a particular feature set within a product. You start to just take those responsibilities, and as you graduate above that, you start to get responsibilities of a product line, and you go above that, you start to make more decisions around the business aspects to it, and then you go above that, you start to get more multiple products under you, or the overall product is responsible for you. So you get all of these facets coming into it. So these are like stepping stones. A key trait for a product manager is you have to be really good at your communication skills. That's something that you would need to have. You are a generalist, remember that, because you have to make sure that the business of your product is doing well, and that means you have to talk with all different members. There are different functions within the company, whether it's support, marketing, engineering, technical guys, customers. You're talking to all of them. You should have the acumen to understand things from a business level, to go all the way down to an engineering level, to a requirement level, and be able to build that end to end. So it's those capabilities that you would look out for a product manager.
Are there any courses or material for our listeners to dive into product management that you would suggest?
Fortunately, currently there is a lot of material available. In India, there are 2 institutes which offer product management courses. In fact, 3. So the notable one is Product Leadership Management by Pinkesh Shah. It's called as PLM. You can go to and get a course and learn about product management there. if you're looking for an online course, there's Upgrad as a place where you can go and take a course also in product management. Obviously, there are endless number of tutorials available on YouTube where you can see what product managers do. And the world is more open now. So, if you're on LinkedIn, you can certainly follow a lot of product managers to see, what are the recommendations, how do you start up, and you can follow a lot of those trends to get started in.
Our core mission at Food for Hunger is to help upcoming software grads have a better industrial knowledge about the functioning of a tech company and to be better computer engineers. And so, you will truly impacting a lot of people's life, helping them learn a little better, prepare a little better for their careers. So thank you so much for giving your valuable time, but more importantly, for adding precious minutes to other people's life. Thank you so much for being a part of our episode, sir.
Thank you.
This is for our listeners. If you have any further queries or doubts or anything at all, please feel free to connect with our magnetic guest for today. I've linked his LinkedIn below. This is my favorite part, to thank you so much for your valuable time, whether you're heading home, towards work, walking your dog, or just listening to us as you're sipping your favorite coffee. We are filled with gratitude and warmth and promise to bring the very best content for you. Also, let us know about your thoughts on the interview and what else you expect to listen and know more about in the comment section. Please feel free to let us know about everything that you want us to know. Until then, we will be back with more content in upcoming months. Stay strong, stay hard.